Yugi's legendary decks being reprinted on the 27th of May. This gives us some of the most iconic cards used in the anime, but what card from this set leads to the strongest and most competitive deck? This is going to be the start of a mini-series around Yugi's legendary decks. Looking at the card list, I divided the cards into 9 main archetypes. These archetypes are Exodia, the God cards, Gadgets, Blackluster Soldier, Buster Blader, Dark Magician, Magnet Warriors, Silent Magician and Swordsman, and Guy the Fierce Knight. The challenge is to build the most competitive deck for each of these archetypes to see which archetype comes out on top.
It's time to do.
So guys, we're launching off this new series about Yugi's legendary decks. Obviously we've got the main 9 archetypes that we're going to do deck lists of. We're launching here first with Silent Magician and Silent Swordsman into one complete deck list. This is the first archetype that we're doing. I've chosen it because it seems like it would be the weakest archetype. Not the most amount of support, not the most consistent deck. But I've had a look around to see what I could find of the most like the competitive sort of side of this deck. And I believe this is actually as consistent as the deck can get. So we're going to go quickly into the deck list. So obviously we've got the Silent Magician level 4, 1 level 8, 2 Silent Magician, but obviously one of the better cards because it has that negation effect as well. Really good. 1 level 3, 1 level 5, 1 level 7, 2 Silent Swordsman, same effect, negates the first activation of a spell. And obviously if Silent Swordsman or Magician is destroyed, you get to summon a level 7 or a level 8, which is really good. So 1 Silent Paladin to get a search for a Silent Swordsman or a Magician. But it would have been better if you could like special summon one instead of getting it added to your hand, but that's alright, we can sort this out. And then the thing that actually makes the deck work, we're playing Gen Raiders, so we're playing 2 Boss of Storms, 1 Boss of Swords, 1 Boss of Light, 1 Boss of Doom, and then we're playing the Shadow of the Gen Raider bosses. It makes the deck better. Like, this is easily the most competitive way to get this deck to work. And there's some synergy between them, obviously, because a spellcaster and a warrior, you can special summon Silent Magician over Boss of Storms, and you can special summon Swordsman over Boss of Swords. So there's some synergy. We're playing Triple Tactics Talent as well, 3 of. Just trying to make the deck, just trying to get the draw power, because I'm not gonna lie, it's a pure going first deck, and if you do not draw Generator boss stage, the game's over. So play 1 Rotor to get Silent Swordsman. Foolish Burial Goods, because we'll send Burning and Sword Slash over to get a Silent Magician or Swordsman to hand. 1 Terraforming obviously to get boss stage. A Monster Reborn, just because it's an extender. Pot of Prosperity in this deck really works now, because obviously we need to dig really deep into the deck if we do not have boss stage to make the deck work. 1 Silent Sword Slash, which is really good. It gets you a search of a Silent Swordsman, but also he gains 1500 attack and is unaffected by your opponent's card effects, really good. Silent Burning allows you to draw 6 cards in your hand, but also lets your opponent draw 6 cards, so it's minus and negatives to this card. Boss Stage, the thing that actually makes the deck have a win condition, pretty much. Other than it, the only other win condition really is to get Silent Swordsman level 7 out onto the field, but this is your main win condition. 2 Boss Fight allows you to activate a field spell, and your opponent draws 1 card, which is really good if you've got Boss of Storms out onto the field, because obviously then you have to discard a random card. 1 Metaverse obviously to get boss stage. Then we go into the extra deck. We're playing 2 Zeus, because we've got lots of level 9s. We can play the level 9s strategy, so this would be really good if True King of All Calamities was still available, but obviously not. So we're playing Phantom Fortress, Sacred Tree Beast, Hypertron, which is really good, allows for negations. 9 lives cap. Then I am not pronouncing that because that is definitely going to catch me out. But Generator Boss of Eternity as well, which is really good. Pretty much discard him from their hand to attach it to his card and just gain so much attack power. Underworld Goddess, because best card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Mech Knight Crusader Avramax, BLS, and then we're playing Nightmare Package, 2 IP Masquerade, and then the side deck doesn't matter, but it's just an extra Silent Paladin if you want a bit more consistency. But yeah, the deck it has to go first, and if you don't see boss stage, it's not going to be great. But yeah, this is how I picture the silent deck to work, because it hasn't got a win condition in itself because the cards take so long to activate. This allows you to get further on into the stages of the deck. But I'll show you into a few games and I'll see what the deck can do, and we'll talk over the advantages and negatives of the deck when we get there. Loading up into game 1 with our silent deck. We get prosperity off the top, so we'll manage 6, just to see what we can dig for. Prosperity in this deck's really good because you always want to find boss stage. But we get the level 5 at hand. We've already got boss stage, as you can see. We set talents, go to the end phase, get boss stage, find shadow. When we get the tokens onto the field, this is why the generator is really good in this deck. Because as an archetype, silent swordsman and magician, we don't really have much board presence until we get to the level 7 and level 8 respectively. So having the generators is really good. The guy sets 2 and passes, so we'll go into storms. Storms is probably the one that you always want to find. It has the negation by attributing 2 generator cards, and that can count as tokens. But also, if your opponent adds a card to their hand, they discard a card as well. So it's really good. So I'm looking here what we can go. So we go into level 5, because I'm anticipating we'll get in for the damage. If we get in for the damage, I was thinking, yeah, this is great. Go into our end phase. So it looks like we're playing Rockets / Dragon Link, but it mainly looks like Rockets because Dragon Link would usually pop off in turn 1. But we get our shadow. We go to activate to get our tokens back. So we get our tokens as well. So now we've got sitting on a board of level 5 storms and shadow. So a bit of disruption. Obviously, level 5 can't be targeted by spells, but it's not got in like a built-in disruption effect like level 7 does. So it seems to be waiting. So he goes into striker, activates striker. We say no to striker because that's usually like the big extender. Activates trap. So then we let it go through so that we can special summon. So we see Rocket Synchron come down, we see Tracer come down, we see Quick Resolve. So it's going into like a lot of Rocket plays now. See Tracer activates its effect. As you go into this card can't be destroyed by battle or card effect, but we get linked off into Red Dragon Archfiend, and so we pop it to get swords, because swords has got a quick effect when we can target another generator card on the field or itself, and we can destroy a card. So he attacks over swords, and so we quickly chain swords, popping itself to then pop Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. He targets storms to negate its effect, so he gets a card added to into his hand, but storms can't activate. But that's fine now. It's only until the end of the turn. We see another rocket come down, but we can activate Silent Swordsman to get level 7 out onto the field now. And when we've got level 7 and Storm on the field, we're sitting really pretty. So we go into Shadows as well, but we've got enough damage on field now to get into the lethal. So that's that nice and easy. So after getting absolutely dragooned in that last game and having absolutely no out to dragoon in any way, we're going to move on to into another game. We get set silent burning, activate boss stage. We've got level 4. We activate boss stage. We've got boss fight in the back as well. We get shadow, and now there we go. Got the 3 tokens. Let's see. Oh, the activate spellbook. We go into Boss of Storms. So that when he adds to hand, Boss of Storms will discard 1 card, which is going to be really good. So we activate Boss of Storms now. It's off from the ad. As this Magician, so this is it's quite funny really, because we're obviously Dark Magician is going to be one of the main archetypes, so we're going to do a deck around. It's be interesting to see how we go against this. So we activate Storms to get rid of the Apprentice Illusion Magician. We activate another spellbook. We get another counter onto level 4. We see Rod come down. Rod's activated. We see Circle added. Circle activated. Yeah, I was about to say, presumably he's going to add the Dark Magician to the hand. So we see it get added. There's nothing too much right now that's troubling us. We see a set card, so we see 2 set cards. So probably one of them's probably going to be Eternal Soul for sure. But we're still looking pretty good. We activate boss stage, boss fight this time, because we'll activate another generator field spell. And so we see navigation. So that's good for us. And then we see the Eternal Soul. Of course, we were going to see the Eternal Soul here. Dark Magician Jack. It's always going to be. But if we can get boss stage onto it to be activated, we can then activate Storms and then chain it with boss stage. Boss stage will then special summon another generator card, and Storms will discard a card. So that's really good. So we'll get into Boss of Doom, and so then we'll activate Shadows, so we can get Boss of Light, so that we can add a boss fight, so we can set boss fight. We'll go into Hypertron. The name just skipped my mind. Which is really good, because I was looking at the graveyard to see what sort of negates we had if we were needing to do it. And we activate Silent Burning. This card is so hard to resolve, but we've got it to resolve, so we've all got 6 cards in our hand now. Illusion Magician activates, which I was like, probably shouldn't let him draw the cards, but that's okay. And then we activate Silent Burning, so we can get the level 8 to our hand. We activate Foolish Burial Goods. We send Sword Slash to get level 3, because we've got Silent Swordsman in our hand as well. And so we swap it out as Silent Swordsman. Activate Monster Reborn. We're going to get Hypertron. Lovely. And then this is good because we've already attacked. We're going to get Zeus. Obviously no 2 materials, but we're hoping that if they destroy one of our cards, we can attach another material to Zeus, and we've got Zeus as well, which would be crazy. But they chain Call by the Grave, and I don't understand why they chain Call by the Grave. I mean, fair play, but we don't have anything. I'd let it go through. I don't know if you're trying to bait out a negate from us. They get Eternal Soul activated. Get the Dark Magician. We get Storms. Circles activated. Target Zeus. So we activate boss stage to get the token. And then we activate Illusion Magic, but we chain Swordsman to negate. We get the 500 plus attack from Swordsman now. We're sitting really well. He sets another card. We've not seen like Oracle Mana being drew or anything. Activates Spellbook, and that's fine, because as soon as he adds cards, we get to activate Storms to discard. So the deck currently is working, in this situation, is working really well, because obviously we get to negate something from Swordsman, we've got negate and storms, so we get to disrupt their hand, and we've got so much happening. And then we can activate level 4 the actual way to get to level 8, which is crazy, because having 5 spell counters on the level 4 is kind of mad. But we get the level 8 onto the field, which feels really good, because it doesn't often happen. And we've got a lot on field. They target our level 8, but we standby phase. We get 500 onto Swordsman. Reposition. We've got so much on the field. We special summon Silent Magician, and we go into battle phase, and this should be game. But this is deck 101, lovely. We're into our final match of the episode, so we activate boss stage. Obviously we get the effect of boss stage now, searching for shadow, getting all the tokens onto the field for our plays during the turn. Let's see what the guy is playing. We see Dragon Maid come down, so we activate the effect of shadow. We get the storms out. It's interesting now because we obviously want to get negation out on the board from storms, but we have no any silent in our hand right now. We we negate the effect of hospitality there with storms. And I'm not sure what else he can do for me. Obviously, battle stages, Dragon Maid swap out, but even then, I'm not sure if he's got anything in his hand. Clearly doesn't. So we get rid of our token now. We see Silent Paladin. We get Paladin out onto the field. We could go for any sort of search right now. We see Tidian come out, which is really good. Sees a lot of play in Dragon Link as well now because of the Chamber Dragon Maid card as well. So we get our Silent Swordsman level 3. But currently there's not much we can do, so we go into an IP Masquerader and we just end turn. So we get our boss stage to activate again. We'll probably get to another shadow here, get the tokens out onto the field as well, and we've now got a little bit of lines of play during the opponent's turn now. Obviously the disruption from Masquerader, so we're going to activate effective shadow. Again, we'll go for boss again. Storms, that is. And so now we can go into, depending on how far we want to let them extend on the Dragon Maids. We've got IP Masqueraders just to disrupt whatever they do right now. But we add a card to hand, so we activate Storms so that they have to discard a random card from the hand. And we see the Gamma Seal now is like, that is crazy. It was so good right now, because if they activated that Gamma Seal, we were shocked, because if Storms goes, that's pretty much our turn. That's pretty much OTK for them. So we see the Fusion come down, and we see Dragon Shrine about to be activated, so we're like, not feeling that. We go into Underworld Goddess, of course. Bit of a staple on the channel. I did a video all about her. I think she's crazy. So we negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field, on the opponent's side of the field. He goes into Tornado Dragon, just to pop our field spell. But that's alright, because we've got Terraforming, boss fight, and boss stage in our possession, so we've got so much access to the boss stage. It's unreal. So popping, it doesn't really affect us, but we negate the effect of Tidian with Goddess there. He's going to hit over one of our tokens, which is fair. But they'll go anyway during the end phase. So obviously we have to activate boss stage to get the tokens away. We see Rota. So the ideal situation here is to get Swordsman, so we can just normal summon level 3, go into the Silent Swordsman, activate boss stage, and then proceed to battle. Goddess over Tornado, Swordsman in for 1,000. That'll do. Swordsman will gain 500 during the standby, but we'll get the shadow as well, and then we'll get the tokens now. So there we go, there's 500 Swordsman. So right now we're sitting very, very pretty right now. So we're going into swords this time, because we've we're now just going to pop because we're out of storms. Well, in deck anyway, we've got storms in hand, but we're out in deck. But swords is really good because you can get rid of a lot of problem cards on their side of the field. So we're still waiting. We're thinking out when's the key point to hit it. He summons Chamber, and I thought it was time to hit. So we get rid of all 3 of the Dragon Maid cards right there. Obviously, we draw 2 cards there off the effect. We get activate again, but we're like, no, Goddess will come out, and then we activate Hospitality, but Swordsman negates. And we're keep going into it's going into our turn now, and that's pretty much game. There's no way the guy's going to be able to come back from this. We've got so much on board right now. We've got opportunity to go into anything we want, but we've got enough damage on board, and so that'll be the end of that game. Nice and easy that. Moving forward into the match, you see here we open our hand. Absolutely horrendous. It just bricks so hard, which is the issue with the deck, and the issue with the silent archetype, because by itself does not work, because it just isn't a line of play. So Dragon Maids just do what they normally do. I think they usually end up on better boards than this, but I think it is pure Dragon Maids. The OCG is really strong with Dragon Maids. There's a lot of love for it over there. Not so much here. Milano plays Dragon Maids. He's really good. Got a good dead list as well on there. But yeah, we see them go up into his own maze. We draw a card. We drew level 4, so we've still really not got anything, because what really we wanted was level 3 Swordsman to go into Silent Swordsman normally. But I'm looking what we can make, so we could have trying to monster reborn. So we get Dragon Shrine, Keeper of Dragon Shrine even, and then I'm thinking, well, what else can we? What have we got here? We don't really have much option, so I just end the turn. I was thinking we could go into maybe IP, but then I was thinking it's just going to get taken out. We've got nothing to get it from. But we see going through, getting a fusion out now for Dragon Maids level 10. Obviously we played a lot of them. Keeper of Dragon Shrine comes down as well, and so our board versus their board not looking too great. So just attack over Silent Magician. We see the Rota now, but they activate Chamber Dragon Maid. We get Tidy in, and we get Rota activated. So we're obviously going to go for level 3 because we've got Silent Swordsman in our hand. So you go into Silent Swordsman. That's pretty much all we can do. Again, if we don't draw boss stage, boss fight, terraforming, metaverse, we just don't have much option for the deck. They take out Silent Swordsman, so we can go to level 7. I was thinking, oh, we could come back here, but obviously their fusion just beats over our level 7, so we're just going to surrender, and that'll be game 2 over. So we go first again, and obviously we actually see boss stage this time. So we get the Foolish Burial package for the Silent Swordsman, because we can get 2 different Silent Swordsman's hands now. So we can summon level 3, special summon Silent Swordsman, activate boss stage, and that'll end our turn. Go into boss stage, get in shadow, activate to get the tokens. Now we're looking alright. Obviously Dragon Maids always activate a lot of spells, so that negation from Swordsman is going to come out pretty key. We go into Storms, second negation, and obviously we're going to want to add cards to the hand anyway, so Storms is going to be a killer for them. We choose not to chain Storms there, because we were going to activate anyway, and so we go for Swordsman instead. We see Raigeki come down, we activate the effect of Storms to negate it, so our monsters down the field, which is always good, especially in this sort of deck, because a follow-up play from this point on would be horrendous, because we've got a level 9 Boss of Light, so boss stage we'd have to wait an extra turn. So we attack over Swordsman, so we just get level 7. I was thinking this is great, so good, because we've just got our boss monster out onto field for free. That's the great effect of Silent Swordsman. We see another Tactics talent. We look at the extra, we don't really want to build anything, so we attack over. We activate Tidy in. They shuffle back our storms, which I would, well, not shuffle back, but put it back in our hand storms. And I was thinking the key card to put back in our hand at this point would have been Swordsman, because then you could activate your spells. Storms, we can just get storms straight back out from Shadow. So it's not really like I wouldn't have targeted that card to be put back. But yeah, they will pay for this. Storms will definitely come back out because we've got Shadow and we've got multiple copies in the deck. So we get Parliament Dragon Maid, we activate Guardian, but we chain Shadow, we'll get Storms out. Obviously we can't activate boss stage because of Silent Swordsman. If you're going to activate it, add the card back time to activate it. We can't activate it because of Swordsman. Go into the battle phase, we'll change it out because we've got a swap for low power. Well, obviously we can't do much. This is this biggest misplay of my life. We activate Prosperity. What does Silent Swordsman effect do again? Yeah, I've done a whole deck profile on it. Of course it's not going to go through. He negates all spells on the field. For some reason in my head at this point I was thinking, oh, it's just the opponent's spells, but then I was like, but boss stage isn't activated, so of course it's not going to work. I don't know why I did it. We're not going to talk about it. We're just gonna move past it like it never happened. Yeah, so we keep going. We go into the battle phase again. Presumably to swap out. Reminds me of a UA. I quite like that. But obviously we don't have it, must not have a target. We go straight to battle phase. We've got enough on board to deal with it, but then we activate Keeper of Dragon Shrine. So it's going to have to wait another turn for us. But we're alright, we can sit on this board. We can sit on Storms and Swordsman. We're not afraid to just sit there and buckle up and just attack. So we activate another trap, obviously, as well. It's not going to go through. Send-offs cancelled. And that's it, that's the game. So that's how we roll in on this deck. I'll move on to some positive and negatives right now for the deck, strengths and weaknesses, and let me know what you guys think. Over to our strengths and weaknesses to end the episode. So you see weaknesses a lot more. Strengths, level 7 turns off a lot of decks with the negation of spells. The generated cards still really good in today's decks. And the Silent Swordsman and Magician have good floating effects, and we've got good board presence as always from the generator field spell. However, the weaknesses are where the deck is. The slow payoffs if you were moving through the levels of level 4s and stuff like that. Just really slow. You're liable to break if you don't get your field spell. You cannot play the game. Generators make the deck work. If you didn't have generators, the deck would not work and would brick all the time and you would not be able to play. Ash Blossom kills the deck if you can't activate boss stage and to get your monster from the deck and you get your tokens. You're pretty screwed. There's lack of hand traps because there's not much space for the deck. You need a lot of space to make the deck actually work, and so a lack of hand traps for you is terrible because you can't then go into, like, I don't know, you could maybe have a Mega in the extra deck as well from your side frames. That could maybe make the deck better, but it's hard to get a four card package in there. Relies on the draw. If you're always looking to draw into your deck further and further, that's why Prosperity works really well in the deck, because you actually have to dig for cards you need. You can't break boards. Say if they have UCT like Tyranno or Dragoon, boss monsters like that, or if you have negations on the boards, you will not play the game. You can't make those. You can't make it through that. The silent cards aren't strong enough by themselves to make the deck work, and this deck cannot go second, because if it does go second, they can just negate whatever you activate, so you always have to go first. But that's this for this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you like the idea of this series. Hopefully you'll watch the next episode when I do a different deck from the Yugi's legendary decks. Subscribe if you're not. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.